Idiot's Guide to Surviving a Horror Film, Amy Edition. Horror is a treasured movie genre. Whether they like the feeling of being scared or they like to make fun of the idiots in the movie, most people enjoy a good horror film. I know that when I watch movies, I try to think of ways I'd do differently. I decided to make a survival guide, so if you ever end up trapped in a horror film, which is not very likely, you won't add to the body count. Number 1. If you see an abandoned house/barn, don't go into it. Those places are like a safe haven for serial killers. If you have a death wish, by all means go and explore it. Oh, and if you have a friend that is dumb enough to go in there, well, I certainly wouldn't advise you to go in after them. More than likely, they are already dead. In the film Jeepers Creepers, Derry and Trish decide to enter an old church after seeing a large man sliding into a large pipe sticking up from the ground. Derry is stupid enough to lower himself down into the pipe to investigate. What does he find? Hundreds of bodies sewn together all over the room. If he and his sister hadn't gone investigating, they might not have started a war with the creeper. The end result is the death of Derry. Is anybody surprised? I'm not. Number 2. If a killer is after you, don't run upstairs or into the basement. I don't care if you lock the door behind you, the killers always have ways to get in. Unless you're going to jump out of a 2-story window, which is stupid anyway. Then I wouldn't advise you to run upstairs. For example, there is a scene in Scream 2 where a sorority girl named Cece is left in the house alone. The killer is talking to her on the phone before she realizes that he is in the house. What does she do? Run up the stairs. Of course, she throws random things at him like a plant pot and a bike, which is ridiculous anyway, but she ultimately gets trapped, stabbed, and thrown off a balcony. Number 3. Don't provoke the killer. I never understand why people do this. They just stand there yelling and insulting the killer. You know what tends to happen to these people? They are interrupted mid-rant by an axe to the forehead. So really, it's just better to keep your mouth shut. Parker, from the movie Urban Legend, received a phone call from the killer saying that he has Parker's dog in the microwave to dry him. After Parker opens the microwave to reveal the bloody mess inside, he goes off on the killer. He starts ranting up a storm and cussing at him and everything. He is then lured inside the bathroom where the killer forces him to drink bathroom chemicals, which kills him. I was getting a little ahead of myself there. Number 4. Don't go anywhere alone. I never understood why people always wander off from the rest of the group. I mean, what are you going to accomplish by yourself without the rest of the group? Oh yeah, you get murdered. I mean, if I were in a horror movie, I can't imagine wanting to be anywhere else from the group. But anyway, Spence, the attractive guy that started the whole zombie mess in Resident Evil, wasn't exactly the smartest man on the planet. Firstly, well, he started the whole zombie thing. Secondly, he decided to try to escape by himself because he's being selfish. Just before he's about to give himself the antivirus, he's attacked by a mutated creature called the Licker. He may have gotten what he deserved, but it still wasn't smart of him to go off alone. Number 5. Don't ever underestimate your enemy. If there's a locked door, wall, window, or anything else in the way that you think he can't get through, more than likely he will find a way. I mean, really. So just don't sit in a room with the door locked just because you don't think he can get in, because that will just make it easy for him to kill you, because he will get in. I'm sure everyone knows the iconic scene in The Shining where Jack is plowing through the bathroom door with an axe. He may not have killed his family, but the message is still there. If the killer wants to get you, they will. Number 6. Just because the killer is down for the count doesn't mean he's dead. I mean, really. Why in the world would you try to poke him just to make sure he's dead? Killers in movies are like superhuman and can pretty much survive anything. So I wouldn't go anywhere near the supposedly dead killer. For example, how many Friday the 13th movies are there? Too many to count. Jason never dies. Even at the end of the new Friday the 13th, the survivors stick around for who knows why. And what happens? Jason, somehow still alive, leaps up through the death. They should have left while they had the chance. Number 7. Don't trust anyone. The killer could be any one of those people you call your friends. Even if you are in the room with one of them while the killer is there, guess what? There could be 2 killers. Wouldn't be the first time. And what is it with all the attractive guys in movies being the psychos anyway? Poor Sidney and Scream didn't know what to think. First, your boyfriend Billy seemed like the killer. Then he didn't. Guess what? He was. But wait, there's more. He had help from his friend Stu as well. 2 of her closest friends were serial killers, and she didn't figure it out until it was a little too late. Number 8. Keep your cell phone charged. You never know when you're going to need it. Like to call for help when the power is out. If you have a bad battery, well, that's just a sad day for you, isn't it? Nobody ever uses their phone in movies. They try, but nothing ever works. Somehow it's conveniently not working. But number 9. Protect yourself. Find a weapon. Find anything that comes in handy. A knife, fire poker, bat, lamp, broomstick. I mean, really, get creative if you have to. Anything can be used as a weapon nowadays, so it shouldn't be hard to find something. Number 10. This one kind of makes me laugh. No debauchery. It's always the people drinking, doing drugs, and sleeping around that die. So if you stay away from those things, it will definitely help your chances of surviving. This rule typically applies to cheesy 80s horror flicks. However, a prime example would be in the new Friday the 13th film, which is based off cheesy 80s flicks. Anytime anyone was naked or smoking weed, they'd end up dead soon after. Number 11, be paranoid. Carry around a mirror to help you look around corners if you have to. You never know where the killer could pop out next, so just be cautious. Number 12. Don't go outside or into another room just because you hear a noise, or if you already know the killer is there. That's just plain idiotic. That's like coming out into the open and saying, "Here I am, I'm ready to be murdered now." When a stranger calls, it's about a babysitter who keeps getting threatening phone calls from someone. When she sees something in the guest house, she runs outside to the guest house, leaving the children all alone in the house. Which is just really stupid anyway. You see something in the guest house, you know there's not supposed to be anybody in the guest house, why would you go out there? While she's at the guest house, the killer is able to enter the main house, which puts all of them in danger. Number 13. After you escape, don't look back. Don't try to go back because you think he is dead or gone. More than likely, that is not the case. I mean, why would you go back anyway? Why? Number 14. This is probably my favorite. Have an IQ over 5. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Stop answering the phone and acting stupid when someone calls you 80 times, breathing heavily, and asking what your favorite scary movie is. You need to have a brain. Number 15, and this one's for my mother. She specifically asked for this one. Bring Macaulay Culkin with you because he survived Home Alone. The boy survived through a holiday in his house, by himself while burglars were trying to break into his house. You learn from him, you will survive. And that is the conclusion of Idiot's Guide to Surviving in a Horror Movie. And you listen to these rules and you might not die. Just saying.